And it's a warm welcome to Inside the Video Store, episode 9. 9 weeks, crazy. Thank you again for watching. Thank you for all your comments last week. We'll look at those in more in-depth later. This week we have a return of the On Tour section, which is good to see. Although it's not good for my knees. Discover later. And temporarily we're saying goodbye to What's in the Box, because there are no boxes, which is disappointing. But I have stuff that's due in this week from Full Moon, stuff that's due in this week from BFI, stuff that's due in this week from Alibris, which a few of you have used, I've heard, which is great news. They're great, aren't they? And stuff in this week from, no, I've just ordered stuff from MVD. Have you ever ordered anything from the MVD store? MVD in America, they're really good, you know. Most American stuff I ship via my PO box in America, but with MVD, their shipping prices aren't too bad. They're about 16 quid, which equates to what Vinegar Syndrome charge. And each month they have a great sale. So this month they've got a sale on Blue Underground. And yeah, some cool spaghetti westerns going for as little as £9 and £10 on Blu-ray. So yeah, all region free as far as I'm aware. So I'm picking some of those up, which will be great for my rabid spaghetti western enthusiasts here at Snips. And yeah, with reversing to BFI, BFI have of course got their sale on at the moment on 3 for £25 on Blu-rays, which I picked up a handful. That been after for a long time. That prices haven't dipped from £18, £19 for quite some time. So it's great to finally get those for a good price. Anyway, rambling on as always. So let's have a look at this week's fresh produce, which is a fair week. It's the first real week of the month. Bank holiday as well in the UK, which means that things are slightly shifted around. You know, people don't like to release things on a bank holiday because, well, for some reason people go away, so there isn't necessarily the footfall in shop. There isn't necessarily the demand on the high street, and you know, it's kind of the start of summer, and yeah, releases have kind of died off a little bit this week and next to some extent. But by the end of the month we are back up and running. What have we got? The Iron Claw. This one has been asked for quite some level. It's a biographical sports drama about the Von Erichs, apparently. A family of professional wrestlers who are plagued by tragedy. It was named one of the top 10 films of 2023 by the National Board of Review. I'm not a wrestling person. I know that surprises you. But this does actually look a fantastic film. A couple of my customers have said, you know, Zac Efron, I like Zac Efron, but he said, you know, even despite Zac Efron being that they are running down to the video store to rent it because they've been waiting for this for quite some time. So here it is. We have a kids movie in, Migration, which was produced by Universal Pictures and Illumination. It took $300 million at the box office. Yeah, and that's it. I mean, all my kids films here, I've got about 1,000 kids and family films. They're all available to rent for £1. £1 to rent the latest kids film. £1, which is just frankly insulting. And people still insist on renting from Sky for a fiver. But you know, that's a free market economy for you. Next up, we have The Promised Land with our old friend Mads Mikkelsen. Great actor, isn't he? This was a world premiere at the Venice Film Festival. Danish, German, Swedish co-production from the director of A Royal Affair, which did some good rentals quite recently. Was it last year? Maybe year before last, perhaps. And yeah, it's set in Denmark in 1755, but apparently it has quite a good Western or strong Western vibe to it. So should be really interesting, to be honest. It sounds great, and obviously it's got the reviews and the credibility to really make it a strong renter. So Looking forward to that. It is foreign language, isn't it? Yes, it is. It's in Danish. The Soul boutique release this week is from Criterion. It's Dogfight, which stars River Phoenix and Lily Taylor, two great actors. Coming of age drama set in San Francisco. It's made in 1991, I do believe, about a group of teenagers who are shortly heading to Vietnam, and there's a party. It revolves around a party where men are challenged to bring the most unattractive dates they can. But yeah, I think I've never seen this. It's always passed me by, but there's some good new interviews there, audio commentary as well, and of course a new 2K restoration approved by the director. So yeah, another great addition to the Criterion collection. These two are tardy. They should have been here last week, but never mind, because I did pre-sale them both for £9 each, which was an absolute bargain. I don't know why, but sometimes Amazon does help you out. Rarely, but never mind. First up we have There Was a Crooked Man. Kirk Douglas, Henry Fonda. American Western, directed by Joseph Mankiewicz. It was David Newman and Robert Benton's first script after Bonnie and Clyde. Didn't quite hit the heights that one did. But yeah, looked good. I do like a Western, another Western kind of in with the Promised Land, and any additions to the Warner Archive group of films is fantastic. That's pretty cool. And also we have Some Came Running, a drama directed by Vincente Minnelli. MGM wanted to duplicate, or they were keen to duplicate the success of James Jones's last novel that they made into a film, which of course was From Here to Eternity. I don't think that quite hit the same giddy heights, but nevertheless, it did get some acclaim, it did get some Oscar nominations, and it should be great. I think there was another boutique release out this week, wasn't it, in Mansion of the Doomed, the early Charlie Band film. I didn't get that from 101 Films. We don't get on. They blocked me from their Twitter quite some time ago. And besides, I have the Full Moon release of the film, and that's good enough. So hence, that is why this isn't in this section, which is fine, because it's been in store for probably 6 to 12 months. And it's a great film. You should get it. Definitely. Yeah, that is Fresh Produce. And now I'm going to get down on my knees. Welcome to the floor, which is exciting, isn't it? This was the former home of the Warner Archive section at Snips, and as you might be able to tell, it's not exactly in a place that's conducive to customer browsing. It's pretty difficult. You've got to get down on your hands and knees. You've got to kind of scramble on the floor and kind of look down here. Bottom shelf, no chance because we've got a tiny gap here. But anyway, Warner Archive has shifted to just behind the camera. So I thought, well, here, what can I put in its place that doesn't have the, say, demand of Warner Archive, but still needs a home? It's been playing on my mind a little bit, certainly the last year or so, that, obviously this place has many elements of me, but there's some aspects that aren't really represented. So I thought, well, what I'll change this year is put up a few sections that kind of define me as a store owner, like a curator. Because you go into places like, you go into bookshops, you go into micro pubs, you go into record stores, and you can kind of see a little bit about the guy or girl that runs it represented on the shelf, and what they buy and what's there and what's available. And I thought, well, let's have a bit of sci-fi, stroke the asylum up in the gods there, and let's have a bit of 90s direct-to-video action movies here. I'm not going to pretend that these are Oscar-worthy contenders, but they're important historically, because back in the 90s, these films were made specifically for video stores. With no video stores, these films would not exist, and that would be a tragedy. Since the demise of the video store, there's been very little interest with these films. A lot of them here are imports from Europe, Germany, Denmark, Holland, France, because they haven't come out on DVD in the UK since the days of video. And a lot of them are just never going to come out on Blu-ray. And they're gradually going out of print. They're gradually becoming harder and harder to find. And that to me is a bit of a tragedy, really, because they're great. They are so entertaining. Yes, they're not 5-star movies, but for a Friday night with a bucket of popcorn, maybe a beer or two, they're really, really cool films. Let me tell you a little bit about the way I split it up anyway. Top shelf here we have New Image. Shelf devoted to New Image. It's impossible to get a comprehensive stock of their films because so many just aren't available. But, New Image, now we probably know them better as Millennium Films. Avi Lerner, Danny Dimbo, Trevor Short, Boaz Davidson, set up in late 80s as New Image, making some very low budget films. They didn't really get money till 04, 05 when they started pumping out things like The Expendables and stuff like that. So in the 90s they were really making stuff on a budget, but it was good stuff. You got great Don the Dragon Wilson films like the Ring of Fire trilogy, 1, 2 and 3, which are so great. I mean, as martial arts films go, they're really entertaining. I'm surprised they haven't come to Blu-ray yet. Some really fine attempts at sci-fi, like Hologram Man there with Michael Nari and Joe Lara. And of course some great Gary Daniels films. I mean, some really high-end Gary Daniels films, like Rage, for example, yeah? And also Recoil, which is similarly just fantastic, directed by Art Camacho, that one. And back to sci-fi again, Cybertracker 1, Cybertracker 2. This is really entertaining stuff. So yeah, we've kind of got a little bit of a snapshot of New Image films on the top shelf there. Drop down a shelf is the other company that was making films of that ilk in that decade, and that was PM Entertainment. Richard Pepin, Joseph Murphy, got together again mid-80s. They were making a whole variety of different genres in the 80s. Bit of horror, bit of drama, bit of thriller, bit of this, bit of that. But the action genre was profitable. It brought in money. So it seemed crazy not to switch horses mid-race, as you might say. And again, they made some really cool films. What would I pick? Well, to be honest, I'd pick one of the best action films in the store. Outrageous. US SEALs 2. How many times have you walked past that in a charity shop and just gone, ugh, why would I get that? But it's Isaac Florentine. It's an Isaac Florentine movie that is absolutely brilliant. Some amazing stunt work, some amazing action sequences. It's fantastic. And there it is, just like literally being burned by every person getting rid of their DVD collection because they think, oh well, look at that, it looks absolutely shocking. And admittedly the artwork doesn't sell it, but it's an excellent film and deserves to be seen. Stuff like Top of the World with Dennis Hopper and Peter Weller. It's good stuff. Things like my mistake. Human Time Bomb, with Michael Watson. It's not Michael Dudikoff, is it? It's Mark Roper. No, it's Brian Jones. Great stuff, really is. And also Operation Delta Force, the 5 Operation Delta Force movies. I mean, brilliant. So yeah, that is the PM Entertainment section. Drop down again, I've kind of split it up into a couple of epic filmmakers that were really prolific during that decade. First up is Jim Wynorski, who of course was two of the best Jim Wynorski films are here. And have you seen them? Because if you haven't, you should do. If you have seen them, tell me in the comments. I want to know what you think about them. Tell me you hate them or something. The Assault. I mean, what a film. Matt McCoy. Brilliant. Again, import. Can't get it over here. Stormtrooper, one of Matthew Budrevich's favourite films. Amazing. Carol Alt. superb. And again, import, can't get over here at all. Outrageous. Next to him, next to Jim, Fred Olin Ray. Admittedly, Fred Olin Ray's better films aren't here. Maybe they're in the other Fred Olin Ray section, which is mainly his Blu-rays. You got Scalps there and other stuff like that. But here you still got some excellent movies like what would you pick? Well, Maximum Security, for example. That's a pretty cool film. Cyberzone, a great little sci-fi with Mark Singer. Great little sci-fi. And also Inferno, the film he made in India, shot by Gary Graver. That's got a really interesting story behind it. Then next to him we have Mark L. Lester. Mark L. Lester started out in the 70s with a few 70s exploitation films like Steel Trap. But by the 80s he was making a whole range of films. Class of 1984, the John Candy film, Armed and Dangerous. I mean, crazy. But of course by the 90s, like most people do, let's get into action. And he made some terrific action films. You will have seen these, you must have seen these, because they're too good not to have done. Stuff like Night of the Running Man with Scott Glenn. Again, no British release. That is superb. Ditto, Extreme Justice. Scott Glenn once more. Excellent film. No British release, but it's here. And it's available to rent at your local video store. You can't see the bottom shelf, and I'll just run through it quickly, but it's basically the best of the rest. Stuff that doesn't fit in to PM, New Image, Fred, Jim or Mark. And we have some really great stuff again here, like No Contest with Andrew Dice Clay. I mean, how good is that? Bit of the Busey, Steel Sharks. Hey. What else? Yeah. Bit of this. Bit of Armand Assante, directed by Anthony Hickox, no less, the late, great Anthony Hickox. And of course, we've got to finish on this, one of the greatest trilogies in film history, maybe. Crackerjack 1, 2 and 3. So yeah, I think, hopefully, I've kind of given people a snapshot of that decade in regard to direct-to-video action on these 4 shelves. Hopefully. Admittedly, people won't be banging down the door to try and rent these films. You still can get a lot of them in charity shops. You still can get a lot of them probably at your local recycling centre because people have tipped them. But to me, these are little jewels. These are absolutely little jewels that deserve to be saved, deserve to be rescued, and deserve to be made available to a next generation of people who can see what kind of films they were making for video stores in the 1990s. I think it's fascinating. And I think there's some really great films here made by some really excellent filmmakers. So, yeah, I'm pleased with this new section. Our loan section is upon us. Interesting and eclectic mix as always. Let's start off with this one. One of the things I was trying to make clear to my customers is that I am not the Messiah, nor am I a naughty boy. I'm not the Messiah when it comes to film. You know, just because there's 16,000 films in this store, it doesn't mean that I'm done. I'm not, you know, it's not complete. It's a work in progress. And, you know, being a true socialist, it's all about the collaboration for me. It's all about people working together for one purpose, and that is to make an ideal haven for film. So I always encourage new customers to bring me ideas for films that I haven't got. I've got an online database which you can access via Facebook and Instagram. And I love it when people come in and they say, you know what, I've checked your online database, but I can't find this. Do you think you should get it in? And normally it's yes, if it's available. I had this instance last week with Kai. He said he likes a bleak film. He likes a really bleak, desperate, unhappy, grim film. Don't we all? And so he said, can you get Ex-Drummer in? So there it is. He's rented it and he's brought it back already. He loved it. He said, absolutely fantastic. In fact, if there are any other films like this, if you've seen this, and you know any other films similar to that, then he would love to know. not my forte, but like I say, it's a collaborative effort, this place, and it's all great for people to work together, share film passions, share film suggestions, and ultimately get something that suits everybody. So yeah, this rented out this week, Extrema, and a great addition to the library, I think. Great addition. Robert Altman, we've spoken about Robert Altman in weeks gone by. Another one went out last week, The Player. I must tell you, it was a rather interesting situation. It was a new customer who hadn't been in the store before. She came in with her kids, who I'm no expert, but I would say they're single-digit age, so I would say maybe 8 or 9. And she said to her kids, or she said to me, "Do you have an Ealing comedy section?" I said, "Yes." And she said, "Right, kids, go and pick which Ealing comedy you want to rent." I mean, that's crazy, isn't it? Kids renting Ealing comedies. Wow, what a utopian place this is. Brilliant. And they did. They rented a George Formby film. Brilliant. Good parenting, I say. Good parenting. And she also said, she also rented The Player because she said she was Robert Altman's PA once upon a time on the set of Gosford Park. So that was an interesting story. It's great to see The Player going out, which is cool. Aki Kaurismäki, I've had his films here for probably a decade. When did this Artificial Eye box set come out? Probably a decade ago. Never rented. But lo and behold, someone came in this week and said, "Do you have an Aki Kaurismäki section?" And I said, "Yes." Blowing the dust off it. But he was thrilled. And I'm thrilled because it's great to see these box sets that I bought so long ago getting some play, which is great. Going South went out. Always a difficult one with these region-locked Blu-rays, but of course it has a 4K in this edition. So if you've got a PS5 or a standalone or standalone 4K player, then you can play this, but not the Blu-ray unless you're multi-region. But thankfully, the customer that rented this, Lee, has a 4K player, so he rented it, and I hope he enjoyed it. Smoke went out. This is a film I really, really love. It's so good. I don't watch many films on multiple occasions unless I'm, preparing for a commentary or something. But this I've seen multiple times because it's just a really wonderful film. I love the idea of Harvey Keitel being a shopkeeper and going out onto the pavement outside his shop every day and taking a picture and just keeping it as a reference point of time. Yeah, so good. Brilliant film. The documentaries keep on rattling out. This week I sent out Capitalism, A Love Story from Mr. Michael Moore. And also, as I said when we got it in, Curly Sue is the most asked for film in the store, certainly since I've been working here for 2 decades or so. So it's great to have it finally in the shop, and also renting out to customers who are thrilled that they can finally access it. And finally, big Cassavetes fan, really big Cassavetes fan. I could watch any of his films. And this in particular is a great favourite, possibly his best. Well, a tie between Husbands and A Woman Under the Influence. But it's great, and also with this awesome BFI edition, you get the added bonus of a documentary called Anything for John, which is a feature-length tribute to John Cassavetes. Yeah, so really pleased to see that going out. That is just a sample of some of the cool films that went out this week. I hope you found it interesting. Yeah, we're going to have a quick look at the comments section and follow up by another quiz. I love the comments section. Please keep filling it with your thoughts and theories and questions and whatever. It's good fun. I like it. Let's have a look. Who we got? Skulder22 says, oh yeah, firstly, this might make sense. Firstly, I'm going to announce the answer to last week's quiz. Of course, it was based on David Okoto's peerless 1313 collection of 14 films, and there was one missing, and I think about 8 people got it right, which is easy, really, to be honest, because it was so obvious. And yeah, the answer was 1313 Frankenqueen, the best in the series. Obviously, I've kept this as a sealed copy. Such it is. Who's going to be the first? Who's going to be the first to get me to break the seal on this? That's what should happen. Who's going to be the first brave soul to cross my threshold and come in and rent 1313 Frankenqueen? Anyway, yeah, loads of you got it right. I don't really know. I should have probably picked lots or drawn straws or tombolled it or whatever. But I'm just going to pick a random name, and I'm going to pick Sean McDonough, Sean 281976. That'll do. Well done, Sean. You've won some stuff, whatever I said I'd send out last week. I think it was a copy of Blue Night, wasn't it? Yeah, and it was and it was a Blu-ray of the Nico Mastorakis film that we did a commentary of. And a David Dakota surprise, I think I said. So, yeah, cool. So we'll do this week's new quiz in a little while. But yeah, just scroll through these comments. Scolded22 says he's never heard or seen a 1313 film. Moving on. Well, you need to, because they are pure cinema. Dr. Impossible of Counterpunk says The Last of Sheila. Yeah, The Last of Sheila. Can you believe Anthony Hopkins co-wrote this clever story? Yeah, he was a great writer. He was a great writer, yeah. Do I have a Scottish film called Soft Top Hard Shoulder with Peter Capaldi and Richard Wilson? No, I don't. But having looked around for it, it looks a bit hard to come by, but colour me intrigued. I would like to see that film on the shelf here at Snips. From Over the Water says, new host. I hear that Gaz you have on is pretty good. Anyway, moving on. Lee Brennan says that's his next 3 rentals sorted. So yeah, I reckon that Lee might have been inspired by my German imports from last week, so I'm sure Lee will be in tomorrow to rent his threesome of, what was it? Uninvited, Unborn, and something else that's around here. Hardcover. I'm Madman. Yeah, the Tibor Čakáč film. Yeah. Cool. Well, that's a great threesome. That is a great threesome. BM Squared says, I can honestly say I've never checked the IMDb rating for a film before I've watched one. I've always gone with my gut. Well, credit to you, BM Squared. Credit to you. Because I see all the time in store, people come in, check their phone, and they have arguments. People have arguments. They're like, well, no, we can't rent this film. It's a 6.4. We have to get over 7. It's nutty. It really is nutty. And, you know, IMDb should not... Yes, it's a good resource. It is a good resource, but it's not peerless. It's not, it's not perfect. And people's opinions aren't perfect. You should always form your own opinion about every film. And sometimes the bad stuff makes you appreciate the good stuff a little bit more. You know, we seem to be protecting ourselves from watching mediocre films, and there's nothing wrong with watching mediocre films. You know, enjoy them. There's a lot to like. No one sets out to make a bad film. Just watch something mediocre from time to time. Just watch a film based on the cover, and don't check IMDb. Terriola says, no new host, thanks. Thank you, Terry. Time always flies when watching. Always informative. It would be good to discuss the workings of the shop so the younger generation can open them. I do actually get emails from people, normally older than me, saying, I've been dreaming about opening a video store. How should I do it? So, well, my answer is don't. Quite frankly, I'm not scared of the competition, but seriously, it's impossible. It's an impossible job. Even today, even with this slight increase in passion for physical media. It's an impossible job from scratch. If you're trying to do it as a startup, how would you get some of these films? They're impossible to get. And the cost. You would never break even. You would never. It's a lovely dream. It's a lovely thought, but it's nigh on impossible. I think the only way you could do it is maybe in a really cosmopolitan city centre with a good student base, with an already established business that's really, really thriving, and then you can convert a portion of it over to maybe video rental or DVD rental, and try and grow it that way. Maybe funnel some of the profits off the established business into your new business, because a bank wouldn't give you any money. Going to a bank and say you want to open a video store, they would probably ask you what year you came from. But yeah, it's a nice idea. I would love to see a video store on every high street in the country once more, but it's not going to happen. Video DVD rental will not become the new vinyl. However, hopefully there will still be a market for it. And maybe if you win the lottery and you want to blow £1 million, then yeah, go out and buy 20,000 films and open one, because you would be doing a service. You would be doing a very noble service to your community, because people do deserve to have access to as many films as possible. And currently, we have access, but it's at a cost, and we can't all afford that cost. It's increasing year after year, and it's becoming too much for a lot of people, especially with the cost of living. We've got far more important things to pay, like mortgages and rents and gas bills and electric bills. We can't afford for Netflix to go up £2 a year or whatever it goes up. It is crazy. But yeah, something like this is a real anomaly. And the mission statement is always to keep the cost down. Keep the cost down. 3 films for £5. Keep them for as long as you want, within reason. And that's the mantra. It's not about money. It's always about getting people to see a broad range of films and having access to films from eras that just aren't catered for on places like Netflix, and to some extent TV as well. Anyway, waffling. Hi Dave, another great episode. Really enjoying your channel and videos. I love Warner Archive. Also, thank you Cinema Dave Media. Filmwolf 4078 says, hi Dave, I'm with you. Milano Calabria 9 is my favourite Eurocrime film. Good. Closely followed by Umberto Lenzi's Almost Human. Good choice. With the always entertaining Henry Silva. Yes, he is. Love me some Ed Wood. Glen O'Glenda. Absolutely. Classic. Bondage on the Couch. It's almost David Lynchian. Yes, it is. I have Edward Jr.'s book Hollywood Rat Race, part memoir, part how-to manual. Entertaining chapters such as How to Live in Hollywood Without Money. Sounds fantastic. I must get that book. Sean says it's a shame you do a video once per week. Yeah, some people might disagree with that. Blue Crown asks, does anyone know what the 1313 bit of all these films means? What does it relate to? The titles seem unconnected. Well, really interesting story. David Dakota told us that basically he prefixed them all 1313, Frank and Queen, you know the drill. He prefixed them all 1313 because of streaming. Because he knew that if someone went on, I don't know, Tubi, for example, and selected browse horror films, then these films would be the first films on that list. So hopefully it might get him more revenue. Whether that worked or not, I don't know. All I do know is that some of these films are just going for crazy money at the moment. I don't think many of them are streaming. Maybe on Hey TV, is it? Here TV, possibly. But I mean, I looked for a copy of 1313 Giant Killer Bees the other day. Really waffling. Jesus, I have to cut this up. Look for a copy of 13 Giant Killer Bees. And there's one on eBay for, I think, £136. £136. Crazy money. But yeah, so that is the story behind the 1313 series. Jennifer says she's really excited about that Nico box set from Arrow. Yeah, that looks fantastic. Some of those Nico Master Rocket comedies are, well, they should be used as a form of torture in Guantanamo Bay. No, they're good. They're good fun. Murdersville said those Warner Archive releases are very addictive. Picked up recently a couple of Charlie Chan collections. Right. I haven't got any Charlie Chan collections. Where should I begin? The Power with George Hamilton. Ooh. And The Third Day with Mr. Papard. Very nice indeed. But unfortunately, like me, he had the same problem with a few loose discs and scratched discs. Ah, that's annoying. Yeah. Curry the Third says Swiss Conspiracy on the shelf. Yes, Swiss Conspiracy is here. Great release by Film Masters. Can't wait for a new film that's coming out soon. And yeah, Death by Mark says, always a nice moment on my Friday to get a new Snips video. Thank you. Comments, always, please leave them. Ask me what you want. Comment what you want. It's an open forum. Oh yeah, quiz. Jeez. What to give away this week? I don't want to seem like I'm giving away my junk, so to speak. But you know, I've obviously upgraded my roll-on DVD Blu-rays from the screen-bound ones to the indicator ones. I'm going to give away the screen-bound roll-ins. I mean, you know, I know they're not the greatest editions, but they're Blu-ray. And if you're not a roll-in fan, or if you've never experienced the Cinema genre roll-in, then maybe it might be a handy and free way to kind of work out whether he's your bag. So yeah, a couple of roll-in screen-bound blues available for the quiz, and yeah, best show you a still. There it is. Don't forget you're looking at my basic store inventory. There are no genre movies here, no horror, no sci-fi, no world cinema, and don't forget I have director sections and actor sections in pockets around the store. See how you do anyway. Yeah, hope you got some good ideas for the quiz. See what you think. Guesses in the usual place. And yeah, more comments next week and the answer to this week's conundrum. Okay, just got time for a quick Sleeping Giant section. Itchy nose. A lot of waffle today, so try and speed through these. As usual, none of these films are available on streaming sites. It's quite a funny thing about it, really. So when I started doing this, I thought, well, I'll do one per week, because I should be able to find one film that's not streaming. But like 9 weeks, I've done 3 every week. And, you know, I'm not getting much wrong. I'm literally walking around the store thinking, that won't be streaming, that won't be streaming. And it's pretty much working out that way. It is crazy. I don't know, I never really thought about that much on the disconnect between what's streaming and what isn't. But it is, the quantities that aren't streaming, it is quite, I think it's surprising me each week, really. Yeah, it is. And, you know, none more so with, say, the first film that we're going to talk about here. We've got Jackknife. You know, here's a Robert De Niro film. Robert De Niro, the greatest living screen actor of his generation. And you can't stream it. Crazy. I mean, admittedly, this isn't one of his more recognizable films. Maybe slightly underrated, maybe slightly less talked about. I don't see many people renting it, but it's still great. Ed Harris, Kathy Baker, 1989, I think this was. It's a really good Vietnam-themed film that probably deserves a little bit more attention. But yeah, Jackknife, you cannot stream this, and not many. I think maybe I've rented it twice in the last 20 years. So I think more people should maybe take a look, because it's a decent film. It's quite a slow story based on a play, but it's a good film. Good De Niro, but good De Niro performance. Don't use many Blu-rays in this Sleeping Giants section, but a brief word on Curtis Harrington and The Killing Kind. Curtis Harrington is one of those people who I was completely unaware of for most of my life until about 5 or 6 years ago, when I started chatting to people like David Dakota and found out that Curtis Harrington had a big impact on his life. Then I'm obviously writing a book about Gary Graver, and you read about Curtis Harrington being on the fringes of his life. And yeah, so here you have this director, so the generation above those guys, struggling to get films made. You know, a really classy filmmaker, knows what he's doing. A really great guy as well, by all accounts. Beloved filmmaker. Struggling to get films made his whole life. Madness, really. Of course, probably the one you'll know the most is that Dennis Hopper film, Night Tide, which came out in a just lavish Blu-ray edition from Indicator. Was it maybe 2 years ago? Maybe 3. And yeah, this is my favourite of his films. The Killing Kind, just a great film about a serial killer. But it's so good. I mean, John Savage is just ridiculous in this role. He's so good. And as a bonus, of course, you get a David Dakota commentary, who reminisces about his interactions with Curtis over the year alongside his good friend David Del Valle. So yeah, brilliant film, not streaming. The Killing Kind, it's really good, and I'd love to see this renting out more. One film that has rented out, and that probably rents out. I mean, if I don't computerize much of what goes in and out, unfortunately, because we like to do things the traditional way. But if I did, and if I could run a report on what's been the most rented films ever here, then probably Pier Paolo Pasolini's Salò would be one of them. Strangely enough, it goes out relentlessly. And I know you're thinking, are there that many perverts in Merseyside? Well, to be honest, it's a really interesting film, and it's not just for perverts. I like it. Steady. It is good. It is good. It's a great addition from the BFI. Have they upgraded this to Blu-ray? Yeah, probably haven't they? I probably missed that on the 3 for £25. But yeah, it's a great addition. 2-disc with loads of special features. Great booklet as well. And yeah, not streaming, funnily enough. I thought it might be, maybe on BFI Player, but it doesn't seem to be. And yeah, just a perennial renter, which is great. Great to see people renting that kind of film and challenging themselves, which is really cool. But yeah, they're the 3 Sleeping Giants this week, all not streaming, certainly in the UK, and all crying out for people to rent them on physical media. And we're done. Another show bites the dust. Number 9, double figures next week. Thank you again for tuning in, you crazy people. Yeah, it's been fun. I am really enjoying doing these because it's great to talk to people about what I do. Because it is a bit weird, you know. It is a bit weird, a bit unusual. So yeah, it's nice to talk to people every day about this, but I'm sure they get really, really bored of it. So it's nice to plague other people. I'm sure you'll get bored of it soon. But yeah, really good. So don't forget, you can always find the store on Facebook and Instagram, where you need to type in Snips Movies into the search bar. And I am on Twitter, or the app formerly known as Twitter, as the Dave Wain. And yeah, that's about it, really. Like I said, feel free to comment below. Suggestions welcome. And hopefully next week we might have a nice shiny, well, maybe not so shiny, cardboard box in front of us with some swanky new films. But we shall see. But in the meantime, I will see you next week.